Meghan Thornton was a born-again Christian until yesterday, and now she's dirty in the alley. Meghan.
Good choice.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
No, it's like make love to the microphone.
Okay, this is a short story called The Number.
Louder.
Short story,
Yeah.
The Number.
Yeah.
I could tell by the way she didn't hold my hands, how they were just limply sitting in my grip like a pair of old socks, that she didn't forgive me, that maybe she would never forgive me. Other couples have been through worse than this, I said, lots worse. We were standing in the kitchen, facing each other, surrounded by an audience of appliances. It occurred to me that most of them had been wedding gifts. Deb said nothing. Her gaze drifted down to my hands and stayed there. I let go of one of her hands to lift her chin. She tilted her eyes away to somewhere beyond my right ear. Beside us, the fridge began to hum. Sandra and Mark, he cheated on her, slept with another woman. I felt it important to clarify. Look at them, happy as can be. I didn't even cheat, I didn't do that. She was silent still. I started to get a little angry. I said, aren't you going to talk to me? Why won't you talk to me? Just talk to me. Can you at least do that? She started and that was it. Her mouth opened for the merest second and then shut. I relaxed, I let go of her chin and it dropped. A red curl fell over her eye. She looked so defeated. But I hadn't really done anything to her, not really. I'd only just met her, nothing even happened. She gave me her number and that was that. I only took it to be nice so I wouldn't hurt her feelings. That's all I was doing. Deb shook her head. She was staring at her hands again. I wondered if she was staring at the matching gold bands there. I thought I could almost hear what she was thinking. I touched my finger lightly to her ring. I felt the scrape of the quarter-carat diamond there. I would never cheat on you, hon, never. She looked at me then, and I wished she hadn't. I'd never seen her look at me that way. Yes, you would have if I hadn't found her goddamn number. Her whole face was trembling as she spat this at me. I could feel her hands tremoring too, like the kitchen tiles she was standing on were on some separate, shifting plate of earth. No, baby, I wouldn't. I tried to put my hand to her cheek and she knocked it away. I was stunned. You couldn't have just told her you were married? I did. I tried. I did. You know some women, they just don't care. No, I don't. Deb had taken her hands back from me and crossed her arms in front of her. Her breathing came in and out with a violence, like she was punishing even the air that came near her. God, I wished I were a better liar. Why couldn't I have just told her the number was one of my coworkers, playing a prank, putting her lipstick on it, just trying to be funny? A statistic popped in my head then, something I'd read once back in my junior year of college, when Deb and I had been dating for about a year. There was some study done where they interviewed a bunch of guys and asked them, if you could get away with it, with no one ever knowing, would you cheat? The number who would was something like 90%. Maybe not that high, but about that. Back then, I pitied the schmucks that felt that way, that took that test. My guess then was that they'd never really loved anyone, really and truly, not the way that I loved Deb. All this time that I was thinking this, Deb was probably thinking something similar. Maybe about some article she'd read in Cosmo about cheaters, something like that. She was closed up in thought, like a flower shut down for the night. But I had to get in there. I was desperate to get in there, to have her understand. I don't know why I took her number. Deb looked at me, and what I saw there in her eyes was disgust and maybe a little hate. I couldn't stand it. It was stupid. I don't know why I did it. I felt like I was just being friendly, like I wasn't doing anything wrong, but God, Deb, I never imagined it coming to this. I never thought it was anything but harmless. That's how it starts, she said, as if she were an expert on the subject. That's how it starts? Please, you're telling me you think I'm capable of that? You think that little of me? Why'd you keep it then? I don't know. I didn't think much about it. Hon, you gotta believe me. I didn't mean anything by it. She started to cry then. She leaned back onto the kitchen stool where my jacket still hung, the other contents of its trader pocket still lying on the floor, a cough drop, a gum wrapper, a dime, a penny. Hey, Deb. I tried to get close to her, to hold her, but she pushed me away. Nothing's stopping you from calling her, she said, angry now that she had let herself cry. She didn't like to cry in front of me, in front of anyone for that matter, not even her best friend. What? Of course I'm not. I'm not calling her. I didn't see where she was going with this. Go ahead, I'm not going to stop you. I don't want to call her. I don't want to. I want you. I just want you. That's all I ever wanted. I was surprised by how easily this confession came, how urgent it felt. Deb was standing right there, but it was like I could feel her moving away from me. Then why? She pushed the business card at me. The way she held it in her palm, thumb crushing its middle, I couldn't see the guilty side, the side with the red lipstick and the phone number. I wanted it nowhere near me. I wanted it gone. I plucked the thing out of her hand by its corner. I held it like a piece of trash, a dirty diaper or a rotten banana peel, and threw it in the garbage disposal. It rested there in the drain, clinging to the rubber splash guard until I tapped it in. I turned on the water and threw the switch. The garbage disposal whirred. I couldn't tell when it was finished. There wasn't the usual satisfying shift of sound when the blades freed up. The paper was too thin to make much difference, I guess. I switched it off, half wondering if it was still in there, pressed against the dark chamber wall. Feeling I'd done everything I could, I turned back to Deb. "It's gone," I said. "Promise me you won't call her." "I can't, it's gone, you saw me get rid of it." "Promise me anyway." "I promise," I said, smoothing her hair back, pulling her into me, feeling her tears wet my shirt. "I promise," I said it again. I felt I should. Deb and I stood like that for a while, me holding her while she cried. She got quieter and quieter. Then she pulled back and looked away from me, embarrassed, like I'd caught her licking the spoon she'd been cooking with. "I'm gonna go up and have a shower." She smiled this little flat smile, and I could see she was going to forgive me. This would be over, not today, but eventually. I squeezed her shoulder as she walked away from me. She disappeared into the dark living room. She didn't even turn the light on. A moment later, I heard her on the stairs. I looked at the mess on the floor. I made a little pile with my shoe and then put it all back in my pocket, not bothering to sort out the wrapper or the pocket lint. That damn business card, I was thinking. That damn blonde woman with the lipstick. It turned my mind back to the sink, to the disposal. Hadn't I heard somewhere that you weren't supposed to put paper into the disposal system? I was suddenly sure I'd heard that. The card was small, but still, could be enough to stop up the works. It only takes a small thing. One minute everything's fine, the next your toilet's exploding. I walked over to the sink and looked down. I couldn't see much beyond the guard. I stuck a couple fingers in and peeled the rubber back. Then I stopped. It had occurred to me, what if my wife came back right then? The water wasn't going upstairs yet. If she came back, and I had my hand in that garbage disposal, I knew what it would look like. There was no question of what it would look like to her. I couldn't chance it. I turned the water on and let it run.